At this time, I'll call the special meeting to order. This is for August 18th, 2022. And this is for the purpose of the canvass of the recount of 816 and 817 from the state treasurer's race. And as mentioned in our regular meeting, this was to follow our regular meeting, this special meeting. And we had a 10-minute recess before we had this meeting. So the meeting is officially called to order. And the first item we have is that we're going to review the tally sheets from recount. And just kind of as a reference point, I'll go ahead and have our clerk, Jeannie Livingston, just kind of give us an outline of the purpose of this and consider just for the benefit of the public.
Okay, we were called to recount the Tyson Johnson race, which is the treasurer's office, state treasurer's office race. We did that in 2 days. We did it by advance voters, we did it by early voters, and then we did it by the people that came to the polls. That was the total number of what we ended up with for that race, and those they matched, so
Okay.
we're fine.
Okay. And when you say we did the recount, do you want to go ahead and specify who did the recount and how they were appointed? And
Okay, we called in the counting board that we use for the general election plus 2 other ones. So there were 5 on the board, on the counting board that did the recount.
And from what I understand, I mean, even though it doesn't specify it, we had some that were registered Republican that participated,
It does.
as well
partisan.
as well as registered Democrat.
Right.
And then also it was under your supervision and you were there during all of that and your staff or members. Okay. Any questions or comment from the commission?
No questions.
So procedurally, we need to go ahead and re-verify the reports. We have the reports that were counted and added. I think we're going to do this in separate motions rather than lump them together. The first one we have is this is on the early voters, and there was a recount on it. The final tabulation was for Steve Johnson. This is for treasurer, state treasurer, had 356 votes. The Karen Tyson had a total of 174 votes. And these are all identified by township and also voting precincts. So is there a motion to accept this report of the early voters?
So moved. I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second that we accept the report for the early voters. And as I mentioned, it was Steve Johnson, 356, and Karen Tyson, 174. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, do we all 3 need to initial this report? Is that your preference? Now, the next one we'll consider is that of the advanced votes. And on this one, it had Steve Johnson, 155 votes. And on the advanced votes for Karen Tyson, 65 votes. And the advanced votes, Jeannie, your explanation, these are people that voted before.
No, those are the ones that are mailed out.
Okay, so these are the mail ballots, okay. And then there's a deadline upon where they had to be received to be counted.
Right.
And
Had to
a
be-
postmark.
Right.
Okay.
It had to be postmarked by August 2nd, and we had to receive it by August 5th.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept? I'll second it. We have the motion and the second to accept the advanced votes, and they'll be figured in. Steve Johnson, 155, Karen Tyson, 65. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Now, the final piece of this was there at the poll, and we had that day, Karen Tyson on the votes was 1,189, and Steve Johnson, 2,387. Any other comment, Jeannie, on this, or just self-explanatory?
Yeah, just, those are at the polls.
Okay. So
I'll make a motion to accept the. Second.
we have the motion and the second for acceptance of those results there at the poll. And once again, that was Karen Tyson, 1,189, and Steve Johnson, 2,387. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go ahead and initial these.
So Lynn, that made the final total for Tyson, 1428, and Johnson, 2898.
Okay. So the reports have been verified and by motion, and now to certify the recount results along with, like you say, the total amounts.
Mhm.
We probably should do that by motion just for record. I would so move.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Before we adjourn, Jeannie, so this information, the certified results, the procedures to do that, you're getting
The state-
instruction from,
Yes, the state will be sending me instructions either today or tomorrow on how that is done. The new totals will be posted on the website.
okay. And I guess, if there are questions, Jeannie is our county official when it comes to elections, but also if you have questions or verifications, your go-to person is Secretary of State of Kansas.
Right.
So all you have to do is make a phone call or email request, and they can give their instructions to you that you can discuss with them. And
Right.
so it's not just, we make decisions at the local level, but there's also the ability to check with the Secretary of State. And so that's always been a big help for us, and not in just this election, but all elections. Any further discussion or comments?
Lynn, I had a question come up the other day about the cost of the recount.
Yes.
I had asked Jeannie and she had initially estimated what that cost would be because she thought it was going to take, a day and a half or something, and ended up taking, 3 hours?
For the first,
So I know there was some concern over what our cost was. It'll obviously be quite a bit less because the
So
actual,
it'll be adjusted once we,
it'll be adjusted. So
Okay.
just wanted to bring that up.
and
So
the other was an estimate. And of course, at the time too, some of the discussion was what would be the extent of the recount.
well, at the time, we thought we were going to have to recount both the question and the raise, the
Mhm.
state treasurer's raise. So when I gave that cost estimate, it was for both of them.
Okay.
when was the last time we actually had a recount? I don't remember. So I mean, it's kind of new territory as far as what it would take. So
Yes.
And then the other part of that, you had the workers come in for the recounts and then they receive a reimbursement for that.
And I don't have
We also have staff time involved and your time to,
the exact figure. I think was like 398 is what it ended up being for the first day. And then 191 would be our half because the state paid for the half of the second one. The first one, they paid, Tyson paid for that.
Mhm.
And then the second one, we would pay for half and it was 191.70.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you for that information. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second it.
We have the motion and second to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned.
10 minutes.